My old grips were getting a little worn, so it's time to install the new grips. The 17 model KTMs come with lock-on grips made by Audi. This is the throttle side grip, and as you can see it comes pre-installed with a new throttle tube, which is really nice. So I'm going to show you how to install the throttle tube and provide a few tips which hopefully you find useful. I've already disassembled the old throttle tube. Before installing a new one, the first thing you want to do is check the cable, make sure it operates nice and smoothly. If it feels rough or has a lot of friction, you want to either put a new throttle cable in or clean it out. I'm not going to cover that in this video because mine is still fairly new and the action is very smooth and nice, so it doesn't really need doing anything, but you should definitely check that. The next thing you want to do is inspect the handlebar where the throttle tube sits. Make sure it's nice and clean, especially if you're running handguards with bug busters. The grip is open and it can allow a lot of dirt in here, so this can get very dirty and gritty. So you want to clean off the handlebar. I just use some parts cleaner and wipe it off. And check inside the handlebar as well. You don't want dirt in there because that can get inside the grip as well. So make sure everything is nice and clean. Next, inspect the throttle housing, and again you want to make sure it's not damaged and there's no dirt inside it. Mine's pretty clean, but you can use some parts cleaner just to clean any dirt or dust that might be in there. One thing to check with these lock-on grips on the throttle side, it comes with various cams. For a two-stroke you want this larger black cam, and it has outside and inside marked on it. Make sure the outside marking is visible on this side. Once you've cleaned all the parts off, you're ready to install a new throttle tube. I like to lube mine with a PTFE Dry Lube. This one's made by CRC. You can use any brand you like. I don't recommend using oil or grease because it'll attract dirt and it'll make the throttle action very poor after a while. So use a dry lube if you can. And I spray some lube on to the handlebar. Just coat it, let it dry. It dries very quickly, and then you can put the throttle tube on. I like to put some PTFE on the throttle cam, spray a little bit inside as well, and let that dry off as well. Then when it's dry, just slip it on. And then the throttle housing, you can coat that with dry lube as well. You don't want to get any lube on the clamping surfaces because it'll slip round easily, so just be careful of that. Then you can install the cable into the throttle cam and then install the two halves of the throttle housing around the cable. Make sure the cable sits correctly inside the housing. It's not pinched. And then do up the two bolts. Then before you tighten the housing bolts, you want to make sure the throttle tube is positioned correctly on the handlebars. One thing to note is that you don't want the throttle pushed up against the bar this way because it could bind on the bar. So you want to space it slightly away from the end of the bar, make sure there's some play there, and then you can tighten up the bolts once it's in the correct position. and then check the action. There should be very little friction. The throttle should return to the neutral position very easily and not stick. And then the last step is to put the rubber cover over the throttle housing, and again check everything runs smoothly.